is because Commissioner Cora Campbell sits on the North Pacific Fishery Management Council, but her predecessor, Denby Lloyd, who was appointed by Governor Sarah Palin, put forth this motion before the North Pacific Fishery Management Council, despite our appeals to reduce the amount of bycatch that occurs in the Bering Sea. All the native people across the state supported 30,000 as a maximum cap, but Denby Lloyd at that time supported a maximum cap of 60,000, double what we wanted to see. They also have a performance cap of 47,591. If they exceed that point within, I can't quite remember the consecutive years, but if they exceed that point, they get further penalized. If they exceed 60,000, they get extremely penalized. One thing I got to mention, just to be fair to the commissioner, is that at one of the council meetings, she had made a motion for the council to re-examine the impacts of Chinook bycatch in the Bering Sea, a trout fishery. So this coming October, in the North Pacific Fishery Management Council meeting in Anchorage, they are going to be re-examining the impacts of the trout fisheries, and hopefully we will gain momentum. But with this gathering today, hopefully we'll be able to put the attention forward. And we're also honored to have in our presence George Letnikoff, who is with Greenpeace. You can be our next speaker, so George. Let's hear it for George.
Good morning. I want to tell all of you that it's a real honor for me to be here. I was born and raised on the Pribilof Islands, on St. Paul Island and St. George Island, and have been working on Bering Sea fisheries issues for Greenpeace for the last 8 years. So your plight and the difficulties that you're facing is not new to us. We have been together, as Tim said, we have been standing side to side with the tribal communities in Alaska to try to fight the Chinook salmon and the other species of salmon bycatch that is being caused by the pollock fishermen in the Bering Sea. I want to let you know very clearly that at least in the last 8 years, and before that, following the work that Greenpeace has done, that as an Indigenous person, that I wouldn't work for an organization that tries to limit the subsistence needs of our people. I'm wearing today a scarf here that I got when I was in Bolivia 2 years ago. It was introduced to me and given to me by the people in Bolivia as their colors for the flag of the indigenous people throughout the world. And I want to let you know that those people there who were gathered from all over the world to discuss climate change are together with you, that we are not alone here in Alaska when we are facing the suffering that our people are facing because of an industry that is being taken care of by our federal and state governments. It isn't right for anybody in the world to look down on the needs of Indigenous people, no matter what our food of choice is. 2 weeks ago, I was in Sweden meeting with all of the Indigenous people from Russia, from Greenland, Canada, Iceland, Norway, and Sweden, discussing the issues that we are facing in the Arctic Ocean due to the ice melting. And we discussed subsistence needs of our people. and all of the indigenous people throughout the world are facing the same kinds of trauma that we are going through here in Alaska. So don't feel at any time that you are suffering this alone and that people throughout the world don't know about your concerns. We can unite as indigenous people. We can work as indigenous people. And Greenpeace is willing, just by being here today and having worked with Myron and Tim in the last 4 or 5 years at AFN and other meetings, we are willing and able to stand by you and with you, shoulder to shoulder, to fight this issue. Because if we are just trying to save the environment just to do it, then that doesn't work for us. If we are trying to work on the environment in order to protect the subsistence needs of the people, then that's something worthwhile to fight for. And I today will give you our commitment that working with Tim and Myron and your leaders, and I know that it's difficult to listen to somebody from Greenpeace and kind of believe them, but I will tell you, and I think Tim and Myron and others throughout Alaska, in Barrow, in Kaktovik, in Kivalina, and Point Hope, and so on, and on the Aleutians, that I'm not doing this job just to do it, but I'm doing this job to work with our leaders and to work with our people to protect our way of life. I was talking with my wife last week in Palmer. We live in Palmer. And I was telling her about the news programs of your people being taken to court because they felt strongly enough to go and get their food, catch their food. And my wife commented on that, and she said, "That's very cruel." And I thought about that, and I thought that is really cruel and unusual punishment. What the state is doing to our people is cruel and it is unusual. Most of the people that they take to court and fine are people who come up from the lower 48 and commercial hunt and sports hunt for, moose and caribou and to try to catch the biggest king salmon. Why are we going after the people who are hunting and gathering for their food and to feed our children? This is, I think, the worst thing that we have seen and experienced in the history of this supposed state of Alaska, a state that our people were not allowed to vote on to decide whether we wanted to be a state or not. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm very honored that Myron and both Tim invited me to come and to witness this statement that you're making. And I will take everything that I have. I walked around and took pictures and share it with our organization. We have offices, 45 offices throughout the world that are all Greenpeace offices, and they will share that information with you. Finally, I just want to share a very interesting statement that was made by Gandhi when he was facing the same kinds of problems that all of us are facing right now. He said this. He said, when you go to the government or go to the industry, first they will ignore you. Then they will laugh at you. Then they will fight you. Then you will win. So let's keep fighting, starting together. Keep fighting until the time that these young people grow up and that their lives are more healthy because they don't buy food to feed their kids from grocery stores that are not healthy for us. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for inviting me here.
Hey, let's hear it for George. Get your voices up. Make some noise. Get the drums. Okay, there's a couple of signs. There's two in Korean. There's April is holding one. There's another one around here floating around. Smaller sign in Korean. Can you rate that? Who's got that sign?
Right here.
Okay, awesome. Okay, those signs in Korean say that honk for subsistence. I can't repeat. I can't. Sure? Yeah. Okay. We also have one more here that is in Albanian. Honk for subsistence. Anybody want to carry that? Every time you see a Korean driver drive through, please wave it. And then anytime you see an Albanian person drive through, make sure you raise that too. There you go. Great.
We have KYUK, we're live on KYUK talk show, so everybody make some noise.
Let's hear it!